G'day everyone, I'm here with Colin Webb. Colin is a longtime friend, extremely talented powerlifter, even better coach, based out in Brisbane, owner of Panthers Powerlifting, who are coming down to do the TSF Team Champs this year for the very first time. And we are super excited. I'm super excited to have Colin and the crew down for Team Champs. So welcome, Colin. How are you going?
Thanks, JP. Yeah, good man. Good. It's great to chat. Good to have a little chat beforehand as well.
Yeah,
kind words, mate. Thank you. We're all excited to come down and join your comp.
Yeah, no, I've just been excited having these conversations with all the coaches because how often do we get to sit and chat and catch up like this? It's been really nice. And we're excited to have you because it's you've obviously never come to a Team Champs, but you did one of our comps last year, like a TSF Open or something like this.
Yeah, it was my first USAPL comp. It was down at TSF. It was had a ball. You had an awesome crowd with your comps, eh?
Yeah, we have a pretty good group. I think it's we're pretty lucky we run pretty good comps, if I do say so myself. Now, you guys are the only Queensland team. We've got two interstate teams, Paragon from Sydney and you guys from Brisbane. It's a bit of a trick to organize a good group. What kind of made you want to send a team out for our Team Champs? What was the push? Was it someone in the group that said, let's fucking do it? Or was it mainly coming from you? But what was the instigator?
Probably got yourselves to thank for that, mate. Like I said before, you run great comps. There's not a whole lot of comps in Queensland for USAPL at the moment. So for our coaches, usually we look out of state to qualify so we can compete without too many athletes with us. And then Marinda and I went down for your comp last year at TSF and had a ball there. Loved the comp. Had a chat to the guys afterwards, and they were all talking at the after party about the TSF champs and said that we should bring a team down. So we kind of made the decision back then that we'd keep an eye out for it and try and join in the fun.
Awesome. I'm glad that our reputation precedes us and that we were able to convince you because, yeah, it's going to be good. I think it's actually the first time we've ever had a Queensland team ever at our comp. I don't think we've ever had that. I think we've had a bunch of Sydney people come, maybe even someone from Adelaide once, but it'll be the first time we have a Queensland contingent with us. Now,
see you guys handle having that many bogans in one spot, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm sure we'll manage. Now, you've had Panthers battling for a long time. Obviously, most of the people that are going to be listening to this are probably Melbourne people, right? So they wouldn't even know who Panthers is or what your backstory is. But you've been competing for 10 years now. You've been to a bunch of worlds. How long have you been running Panthers for? What is Panthers? It's purely powerlifting. It's kind of like TSF, just focus on strength training, or is it a bit more general than that?
A little bit more general than that. Where strength, we got probably, I'd say maybe 40% strong women and strong men, and 60% powerlifters. Out of the competitors, we've still got a few general pop people as well, particularly with the group sessions that we run. So a little bit of a mix there. Sorry, I've lost your video there. November last year was our 10-year anniversary for Panthers, which I only found out last week. We're going through old photos. So we'll have to have a belated birthday party somewhere. I've been competing for 12, 13 years, Panthers for 10 years, and then coaching for about 14 now, 13, 14.
So you're no stranger to the strength game, been around for a long time. Like I said, competed in other worlds. You've got a pretty good group coming out to the Team Champs. I wanted to ask you about who they were because, speaking to a lot of the other coaches, and even just general fans and spectators and whatnot, everybody's excited. They're putting together the spreadsheets, doing the stalking, and it's been a bit of a challenge for some people to find who these lifters are from Panthers. I know a couple of them have done equipped comps before, but not so much raw. So for a lot of people, they're finding that your team being a little bit of a dark horse, a bit of a sleeper team. Who have you got competing? I was actually expecting you to step on the platform, but there was no Colin Webb when the nominations came in.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to bring this team down because they're all just beautiful people, mate. They're all of them new to USAPL. All had except for one. Sorry, we had Emery did nationals last year, but the rest of them are all first-time USAPL competitors. They were APU. One of them, Scott, from back in the PA days, turned APU, and now a little bit in limbo, but joining USAPL for this comp for us. Amelia's been strong woman for the last. I'll run you through them all first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So lightest body weight upwards. We've got Martin Smith, who's probably going to be a bit of a crowd favourite on the day, I reckon. He's fully weigh in today at 54 kilos. Sorry. Yeah, 54 kilos today.
Dripping wet, I
Is
imagine.
his PB, heaviest he's been. Yeah, after training and a sweaty shirt, and so he's on the gains train, trying to bulk up for filling out his class at some point. But it's taken us about 6-7 years to get the 5 kilos on him that we have got. Yeah, believe it or not, he was like 49, 47. He was featherweight. So he's a masters lifter, young man with Down syndrome that just inspires us every time he comes in. Just a beautiful human being that
Awesome.
loves the crowd. Will give you a hell of a show. Yeah, loves the cameras. He's fun bundle of energy. Next weight class up is Scott Micklejohn. He's Effectus Physio, owns Effectus Physio. Another great human being, strong as hell. Got a big bench on him. He'll give those 100-kilo boys a bit of a nudge for the bench record, hopefully. Then above him, then we've got Amelia in the open women. She'll be hardest, probably the hardest for you guys to stalk because she's been strong woman for the last 3 years. Prior to that, she was pro raw lifter going back maybe 8 years ago or so, back down in Melbourne. Strong woman since then, and then looking to get back into powerlifting and making this as her debut entry back into powerlifting. And then our big boy from the comp, another gentle giant, is Emery, who'll be competing in the 140s. He was a national champ for the 140s last year.
Yeah, so you've got a pretty diverse group. You know, like obviously you got two guys in the heavy classes, like one woman in the opens and one guy in the 140 class, and also Martin, who's in the 56. So you've dare I say deliberately picked these classes, lifters in these odd classes. I mean, they're obviously talented lifters anyway. But talk me through what was the logic behind choosing the team. And I said to Beck from Sydney, you guys specifically have this like added challenge of trying to choose lifters who can make it, right? Because maybe, for example, you've got a lifter that's really talented, you'd love to bring him, but they can't take the time off work. It's a bit expensive to travel and whatnot. So you've got this added hurdle, I suppose. Was there any of this kind of challenge that you found when you were trying to pick the 4 lifters you wanted to bring, or did you know straight from the get-go who they were going to be and how you wanted to do that?
No, finance has played a pretty big role for it. A lot of people that just couldn't afford to, like you said, take time off work. But the other thing is just afford the accommodation and the flights. We're looking at $350 for flights and that much again for accommodation. So by the time you throw some food in there, it's a $1,000 trip, which is a lot of money for a lot of people. So you had to be a little bit selective on that front, give a few people the options, and then see which ones could afford it, and then plan the team from there. We're a little bit strategic in there as well. Emery had to do a qualifier comp for nationals anyway, so there was a good chance to get his qualifier in and take advantage of the fact there wasn't many 140s competing in USAPL. Martin's coming across from IPF, so he needed a qualifier comp to get to nationals as well. So it kind of worked as a, I'd say it like does his qualifier for him, but Martin signs up to every comp under the sun, so he'll probably still do another 2 USAPL comps before we get to nationals anyway, plus 2 strongman ones coming up. But yeah, the idea for me at least was to get a qualifier in early for him. Scott's a little bit similar, working out feds, needed a qualifier comp. He'll be trying to work out his accommodation still yet. We're all going to stay at the Airbnb, but just how many days he'll stay and when he can get there for. So yeah, a little bit of navigating, like you said, plus trying to get a little bit of strategy in there at the same time.
I mean, like, of course, there's this, you got to find people that are able to make it. But like you said, there's also a lot of strategy in there. And, I mentioned Beck already, but she kind of said in our episode the other day or last week that she thinks that Panthers are going to be one of the teams to look out for. And actually, a lot of people have said something similar, that the Panthers team are a team to look out for because, assuming that that Martin puts together a total, you've got 6 points there. In the 140 class, you'll get 6 points as well because I think he's the only one in the 140s, at least on day one. I'm just going to jump straight to it. What do you kind of see as your chances to take out the win or be really competitive at least on that day one or even across the whole weekend?
It's a little bit hard for me to go into strategy too much or like predictions on it because we're so new to USAPL that I don't actually know the people who the teams are in. It's been one of the fun things I've enjoyed with USAPL is going back to being a nobody and no one knows me and I don't know anyone. So it's been nice to make new friends and new contacts. So I couldn't tell you all the people in one team. I've just looked at the weight classes and numbers within that weight class. So I can tell you how my guys are likely to fall within those weight classes. But I don't know all 4 members of another team to know how they stack up comparatively for it. I think Martin, Emery should be pretty well guaranteed, being that there's no 140s and he'll pretty much always total. He's quite consistent despite being a new lifter. Martin is always a challenge. He's an incredible dude, incredible man, but you don't know what you're going to get on the day. So he might come and you'll see me on the platform a lot with Martin, where I'll have to at times just manually grab his hands and put him on the bar for where I need him to grab the bar, because he gets so excited sometimes that he'll grab a deadlift and stand on a left hand side of the plates and lift one side up instead of being in the middle and lining it up. So getting Martin to total will be the challenge, but if he does total, it'll be obviously 6 points plus. It'll be just a bunch of excitement for him. So he's not a guaranteed, but if we can just do the total and open conservatively for him, we should be okay. A little bit of a challenge because I can't open too conservatively for him because he can't do big jumps with his weights. And so if I drop the weight down too low, then it's kind of like a nothing comp for Martin, and he's not driving all that way or flying all that way for us to just be a number on the scoreboard. He wants to actually have a good time and push some numbers for him. So we've got to try and find that balance where we can guarantee that he'll get those openers in while not going so conservative that I'm only thinking about the team results. Scott has got a massive battle in that 100 kilo class. That's a fairly epic class there, looking at the numbers in that one. I'd hope that he'd be able to sneak in for 3rd place in there. Maybe get a big enough bench to keep the boys on their toes when it comes time for the deadlifts. But yeah, I reckon I'd say not a guaranteed first like we're predicted with Beck there, but should be up in the mix at least. And then Emery, even if there is another 140, is a bit of a beast at the moment and having some great training, so he should be pretty hard to beat in that class.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a thorough rundown, and I really appreciate your perspective on that. You know, in the sense that you're kind of focusing on what you guys can do, not hyper focusing on what other people are doing. You know, like I said, some of these other teams, they've got spreadsheets and they've got projections and they've got all this stuff going on, and you can't control what happens in, you know, the 67.5 women's class. So like, why bother focusing on that? Instead, you're just going to focus on your guys, get best lifts and totals that you can, and yeah, I mean, like the Panthers are going to be a team to be reckoned with. So I'm excited to see you guys on the platform.
Yeah, we're definitely coming down there to do our best for it and give it what we can, eh?
And if nothing else, just have a good time.
That's it, mate. Yeah, you can guarantee the Queenslanders always good for a party.
Right. I mean, you guys are on holiday, so that'll be part of the fun, I suppose. How do you do all 4 of your guys train in the gym physically, or is any of them online?
No, Scott Micklejohn is a bit of a gym whore. He trains pretty much everywhere, but rarely at Panthers. He's on the other side of the city, on the other side of the river, north side. The rest of them are all pretty much here. Martin I only see twice a week, and he does 2 sessions at a fitness club out in Redcliffe, another 40 minutes away. And then Emery pretty much lives here.
Part of the furniture. How do you?
Yeah, pretty much.
How have you guys kind of like bonded in the preparation? Like, you know, a lot of the other groups are saying that they've got like your little group chat and they're trying to do some team training and train together and stuff. You know, obviously you've been around for a long time, and I'd imagine that there's not many comps that you've been to where there's this kind of team element. Do you feel like this team sense in the group that you've got going on?
Yeah, there is. Like Martin was in training today when Emery came in, and Martin just loves big people. So as soon as 140 kilo Emery came in, he's all excited and ready to lift for him, and just excited to have him on his team. But for the most part, our guys are training everywhere. Amelia trains before I even come into the gym. She's gone by like 6 o'clock in the morning, so she doesn't get to lift with everyone very often. Emery's pretty much always around that lunchtime mark, so I see him all the time. And his coach Marinda, who's coming down with us, always gets to see him, but none of the other lifters do. Martin lives a fair way away. He just drives in for 2 one-on-one sessions each week, so he'll be again not able to see the other guys very often. And then Scott doesn't train at the gym, but he's the physio for pretty much every one of us. So we get to catch up on that front and know him fairly personally. And Scott and I have been coaching and lifting together since the PA days. So we're all fairly close knit, all know each other well, but don't actually get to lift together that often. We are going to stay at the same place when we get down there. So most of our chat online has just been about trying to work out the logistics and get accommodation and flights sorted so we can get the same taxi and that sort of thing. But I think once we get down there and go shopping together and get the accommodation sorted, that's when the real team vibe will start building for us.
Hell yeah, I love that. You kind of mentioned earlier that who was the physio in your group? Sorry,
Scott,
and yourself
Scott
been together
Mickelton.
since the PA days. You've competed across many different federations. Powerlifting Australia, obviously World Powerlifting, USAPL now. I think you've done a couple of GPC or at least Pro Raw events and whatnot.
Yeah, Pro Raw, no GPC. Yeah.
Right. And so this is, I imagine, like kind of another level of uniqueness, right? Like I don't think you've done a comp like this, and you've never been to one of our comps, which is really interesting because I'm pretty sure every other team, at least that I've spoken to, have at least in some sense been to one of our team comps because they're really unique, mate. I think you're really going to like it. I think you're going to really love the energy of the comp. What do you kind of like? What are you guys hoping for? Like I know you said that you're not trying to focus too much on what other people do. Obviously, you've got that competitive nature and you want to do well, and you guys are one of the, I'm going to say honestly, one of the favorites on at least on the day one in the challengers bracket. But what do you guys kind of see as playing out? What are your goals? What are your expectations, I suppose?
Yeah, like you said, we can't control whatever anyone else does, but we want to try and get the 4 wins for our guys, really. So yeah, hopefully, our first goal is to take out that day one. Try and get you guys to fund our after party then. Be a nice bonus.
I think funding the after party is a very valid goal.
Yeah, like I said, not focusing on what everyone else does as far as projecting totals for each team, but definitely focusing on what everyone else is doing within the weight classes that we're competing in. On the day we're lifting more so, we won't try and pick a number that is going to guarantee a win in the day two because you never know what's going to happen and how that day is going to go and how much pressure they'll be under from their own competitors on it. But we'll try and put ourselves in the position where the people they have to beat within those weight classes would be the main goal.
Yeah, right. I mean, like you said, you can't really predict what's going to happen on that day too. And I mean, ultimately, anyway, you're only really competing against yourselves and the people that are on your day because, like I said, if you can take out the win on that first day, you've got your after party sorted. And if nothing else, at least you can finish in that top 4. I'd love to invite you guys back next year and compete on the premier day because, I mean, like I suspect that you guys will come around on day 2 anyway and check it out. Yeah, you're just going to see the standard, the quality is just going to be so high. And I mean, if you guys are a good enough team, I think we'd love to see you there. I was going to ask you, I kind of mentioned loosely, or I kind of asked indirectly about your, your team and your chat and like you're kind of building up that team spirit. From afar, I feel like Panthers have a really good team culture. You're a boutique gym, a lot like TSF, kind of a small space. Everyone knows everyone. You're bugging me about trying to send over 100 volunteers because everybody wants to help. Everybody's like wants to be there and be part of it. And it's been good. It's been really, really good because I can tell that I think you and I share a lot of similar values in that sense, trying to encourage everyone to be involved and to be part of it and to build up this culture. Where do you think that kind of culture come from? How does someone who's maybe listening to this, who's a coach that's much less experienced than you, or that wants to send a team to team champs next year, how do you kind of develop a culture where I'm getting bombarded by messages saying, "Hey, I'm from Panthers and I want to volunteer at your comp," and demanding, whereas 95% of the time it's the other way around, where I'm having to bug coaches and say, "Hey, can you send us a volunteer because we need a hand here?" Where does that come from, and why are people from Queensland so freaking nice?
We are nice up here, that's for sure.
It's because you've got good weather, so you've nothing to complain
further
about.
north, which is another level up again. Being in the city, it changes a bit. It helps a bit. Oh, mate, I make fun of people complaining about summer and like the heat. That's all the time, but this summer's got me. It's been absolutely brutal. It's been like 30 degrees at night times. It's just savage. So I put my training back to 9 p.m. so I can train when it's cool, and it just hasn't changed. It's been, so I can't make fun of anyone for the heat anymore because I've turned into a sook myself. The culture side, though, I think first and foremost at Panthers, it's always been about community and culture. I think to be good at anything, you need to do it for a long time. And if you come in and your priority is getting a PB every time only, or just rocking up to comp and smashing comps and not thinking about the long term, I don't think you're going to be in there very long. It's important for me that powerlifting adds to everybody's life. It's not so much of a stress that it actually takes away from the enjoyment of the rest of your life. So I think if you get that right, then you got a chance to do it for 30 years, 40 years, and if you can hang around that long, you're going to be good. That's pretty special to train for 40 years and not master a sport that's not massively complicated. And then if you got people that hang around a long time and they come to the gym because they want to catch up with friends that they've made at the gym, then that makes them want to help because they want to be there to watch the person lift anyway. So if they're going to fly down to watch their friends, they might as well help at the comp and get the best seat in the house and spot a load or be on the tech desk and have front row seats.
Yeah, I mean, like powerlifting has always been kind of like a community-driven sport, right? It's not like it's not the kind of sport that it's a sport run on the back of volunteers, and you kind of almost need to encourage that culture in your space. Otherwise, like you said, you're just going to get chewed up and spat out. I know you grew up with a football background, like I call it football, rugby, but background. And I was actually, it was funny, I was having a conversation with Beck Potterledge, another Beck, not that Beck, a different Beck. And she was telling me about how growing up, she did netball and then she started in powerlifting. And obviously powerlifting is very, individual sport, and she was lacking that kind of team spirit. So she kind of went back to netball a little bit. And she's super pumped about this comp because there's this team element. She's like, it feels like netball again. It feels like a team. We're training hard together and whatnot. And although, this is your first time in our kind of team system, I feel like you guys are a perfect candidate for it because you've already got that team culture. Like you've already got this kind of thing where it's like the Panthers crew are coming down as a group. You guys act as a group. You guys already have that culture.
I think we get a bit of a double positive there. We've got Marina and myself who've done enough international comps where you've always had that team environment as well, where you travel as a team, you lift as a team, and you accrue points for the country as well. So keeping tally of points and that sort of thing is not going to be a new thing. The last few years in APU, they've had state versus state at nationals as well. So you've had to pick teams based on getting the most points to win the state battle as well. And Marinda was assistant coach and actually coach after I left as well. Main coach of the Queensland team as well. So neither one of us is new at adding up point totals and working out strategy on that front. I forget the second half of the question. That was about team environment. Is that right?
Yeah, and just generally, just like team sports growing up, and having a real value. Right. I guess like you kind of said to me, that's like it's really important for you that people like in your gym understand the long-term aspect of it. It's really important for you that people understand this, like the culture of helping each other out, staying back, whatever it might be, and being a team event. That's kind of what this tries to promote, I suppose.
Yeah, I kind of had the opposite approach to Beck. Right, starting with football. So my first gym membership, I think I was 13, just trying to get big enough to not get smashed for football. So it's been, what's that work out at, 25 years that I've been lifting weights for. For me, when I came across the powerlifting, it was because I couldn't make training anymore because I'd created this as a career. So I couldn't be part of rugby league because they trained every night time and I was working night times. So I needed to find another competitive avenue. I thought at the time that it would be a nice, what do you call it, like a individual
temporary
challenge where, not even temporary, just an actual chance for me to test myself. With rugby league, like you put a shot on that's the biggest shot of your life because if you don't, you're letting your team down, not because you want to do it for you. There's no like real personal challenge. You just can't miss that shot because you got 13 other people 12 other people on the field that are getting let down if you don't do it. So I actually looked forward to the fact that I could get there and find out how hard I'd push if I was just pushing for myself. And then obviously found out pretty quickly after that it is a team sport and a team vibe, and that you're never really actually training and competing for yourself. There's always someone that's in your corner or a team that's helped you for the training and another team of members that are staying up till midnight to watch the live stream to support you. And it very quickly became obvious that it wasn't really an individual sport. It was a time where you had to execute things individually and no one could do it for you, but you were never doing it for yourself, there's always other people in your corner and people to pick the numbers that you don't want to let down, like your coaches. Pick the strategic attempt that if you miss it, now you made your coach look silly, but if you make it, your coach looks amazing. And so it's like, yeah, you've got a lot more riding on it than what I thought it would be as far as the individual side. And I think everyone here just kind of fits that same mentality. They all appreciate that someone spotted them for a heavy squat, or that people have stood back and stayed late at the gym to cheer for them for a heavy session, or get you through those sessions where normally you just walk out and throw your dummy and have a little dummy spit and leave the gym because you're tired and sore and can't be bothered getting it done. But if 5 people stay back for an extra hour after their session to make sure you can get it done, you're not going to take that easy way out. So then when you get there on the team on the day, you've got those 5 people still in the back of your mind that you want to honour and lift well for as well. So yeah, I think if you do it well, there's a team component to all of the sides of powerlifting.
I love what you said about in rugby league. You've got to do it to not let down your teammates, because they're relying on you to execute and to make to perform well. But in the same way, even in powerlifting, that element is there, right? You want to execute to not let your coach down or not let your teammates down. So it's actually funny how you said that. It's still a team element. I actually hadn't thought of it like that. So I really like that, and maybe that's a personal call out as well to your lifters, to make you not look silly for putting the wrong weights on the bar. When you said
yeah, not putting them under any more pressure.
Yeah, make your coach look like he's a genius. So hopefully that's what you look like. Look, it's been good chatting to you. Like I said, good to catch up with you, because it's been a while since we've had a chance to sit down. We're, like I said, super fucking excited to have you guys, the whole Panthers crew, down for team champs. And I'm hoping to be able to fund your after party for sure. Travel together,
great,
compete
mate.
together, party together, right?
That's it, mate. That's the plan. Yep. Bringing a few of you guys along for the ride.
Excellent. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. We'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure. Awesome, mate.
Cheers.
Take care.